I want to talk about grief today. I'm Caroline Ellison and I'm a counsellor in Fleet, Hampshire. I've been working with grief and with clients, and I've done lots of studies, lots of courses, and read lots about grief and bereavement and loss. And it's a very it's a very important subject, but I really wanted to put this post out today because a week ago Sunday, my mother died, and she died of dementia. Well, it was actually pneumonia, but she died after a 10-year battle with dementia. Now, since 2016, we have been in living grief, waiting essentially for the inevitable to happen. Not literally waiting, but knowing it's coming at some point in the future. We never knew how long that future would take. And over the last few months, I'd expect we've been living in what we would call anticipatory grief, where we're anticipating mum is going to die because she's been particularly unwell and she's started to lose the ability to actually swallow, which fundamentally is what took her in the end. When I was there with my mum, I arrived on Friday. I had that call from Dad saying, "You must come now." The doctor came to visit her and said, "Yeah, this is end of life care now, palliative." And by Sunday, 12 o'clock, just after 12, Mum took her last breath. We were all with her, and she died very peacefully in her bed in the house that I grew up in, the house that her and Dad have lived in for the last 54 years together. And we were all there. It was very emotive, it was very sad, and I'm going to keep my emotions in check because it's obviously very fresh. But I wanted to share this video because my experience of grief is something that I am so profoundly affected by, that I truly understand on a much different level what grief really is. I've experienced grief before, but I've never lost my mother before. And when you lose the person who brought you into this world, that person who you were physically connected to, the only human being that you are physically connected to by the umbilical cord, when she goes, a piece of you goes with her. And my entire world changed. In that moment, in that last breath, boom, my assumptive world was different. And it will never be the same again. It's existential. This is life. It has a start, a middle, and an end. But what happened to me was something turned off inside of me. Everything went from colour to black and white. I became really discombobulated. I stopped being able to form sentences. I just wasn't functioning. I was just gazing mindlessly in no particular direction, not looking or focusing on anything. It was just the most extraordinary experience that lasted for days, of this malaise and grief, this sadness, and the fatigue. My gosh, the fatigue, the lack of resilience, the inability to cope with the smallest of things, the amount of times I've lost my phone, lost my keys, and got so angry about it is well, it's daft, but it epitomizes what happened. And essentially, I don't want to waffle on for too long, because whilst this is an incredibly important subject for all of us, and for me, and respectfully to my dear mum, who we will pay our respects to her properly when we have her funeral soon. I really just wanted to reach out and say to people, if you are experiencing grief, my heart goes out to you. If you know somebody who has had a recent loss, it's probable that they just need to know that you're there, but not necessarily need you to be around them all of the time. Read them, read what their needs are, help them, let them know that you're there, but they may need space just to heal. Just a little bit of quiet, just to heal, just to have those moments where you can just sit in your own space and just sit with the grief and be like, oh, this is different. Start to become accustomed to what the world is like without that person in it, and allow them the space to figure that one out. It takes time. And for every single person, a grief will take however long it takes for them. We grieve like we live. I've said that so many times before. I've heard that so many times before. But it's so true. We grieve like we live. And the love that we have for that person is what we hold here. But how we process it is entirely down to us as the individual. And I absolutely respect each and everybody's way of grieving, because if that's how you need to grieve, then that's what you need to do. Just keep yourself safe, keep yourself hydrated and fed, all the practical stuff. And just know that if you're not okay because you've lost somebody that you love, it's okay to not be okay. And just know that when the time is right, if you need that additional support to help you through, reach out for it, because it is so important to reach out for the support if you feel you need it. If you don't, you take lots and lots of care of you, and lots of love to all of those that we've lost, but we still love them very much. I hope that this has helped in some way, or I don't know, but I just really felt it was important to share it. And I just want to say, out of respect to my mum, I love you, Mum. And there's another star up in the sky, or a robin, whichever way you look at it. She's out there somewhere watching over us all. Take lots of care, and thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.